Welcome back to Hartford. All of the Swiss rounds have been completed. We know who the top 32 duelists are, and now it is time for them to duke it out in single elimination the rest of the way to find out who will be crowned YCS Hartford champion. Duelists are all sat down to play. Out of 1,247 players total, only the 32 remain. They are all players who had 27 points or more. That's 9 wins. No X2 and 1s made it this time.
No, a lot of X2s actually didn't make it. I was quite surprised. It's a little rough, when you do have those 27 points. Not enough, it comes down to tiebreakers at that point. If you lose out a little earlier, definitely not going in your favor. So you want to stick it out toward the end, really stay strong and start losing it at the end if you're going to lose it all.
All right. So we will see the 32 duelists that are playing, starting with Matthew versus David, Noah versus Hani, Christian versus Justin, and Matthew versus Jordan in the top left half of the bracket. Moving over to the other bottom left, we got Seam versus Poe, Ted versus Luke, Calvin versus Dominic, and Raiden versus Thomas.
On this half of the bracket, we have Matthew versus Isaiah, Gary versus James, Kyle versus Nicholas, Jing Yang versus, sorry if I butchered this, Panagiotis. On the other half, we have Sebastian versus Pascal, Raymond versus Noah, Benito versus Andrew, and Mohammed versus James.
And among all of those players, we had a look at some of the deck lists that they were playing, and it's really a fantastic breakdown. Really interesting stuff going on in the top 32 deck lists.
Yeah, it's a really widespread. We knew going into this tournament, Sword Soul Tenyi, Branded-Eldlich were the most popular decks. Sword Soul Tenyi still holding out with solid representation in the top 32. 7 did make it, but Branded-Eldlich, not so much. But we're going to see just how well these decks fared in the first match of top 32.
First up, it's Noah from Belmore, New York. His favorite card is Blackluster Soldier Envoy at the beginning. A classic from the days of Chaos. Probably the better of the two if you think about it. And taking him on is Hani from New Orleans. His favorite card is Sword Soul Rebellion, one we've seen quite a bit throughout the weekend.
Yeah, very interesting that your favorite card would be Moye, a card that's so brand new. I wonder, did he just not like Yu-Gi-Oh! Prior? Or is this card so fantastic to him that he just outclasses everything else?
I think it's been so fantastic to a lot of people this weekend with, like 20 or 21% of the field playing Sword Soul to begin with, and then another 7 of them making it to the field, or to the field of 32.
Yeah, Hani definitely has had some compliments with Sword Soul as well. I wonder if he's trying to still play the Sword Soul strategy today, but it doesn't seem like, because I think he's actually made it with his Punk Therian strategy.
Yeah, so the Punk Therian strategy has apparently been just as successful in terms as Tenyi's Sword Soul in terms of getting players into the top 32, but there were so many fewer players running that deck this weekend. It's an incredible conversion rate with 7 different Punk Therian variants. Once you take the ones that play adventure cards and all those, put them all together, you come up with 7, the same as Sword Soul Tenyi.
Right, like some variant of the Synchro strategy, I believe.
Yeah.
And correction, Hani isn't actually playing any Therian cards. He's just focusing on the Punk Synchro version.
Oh, interesting.
Really just, I guess, reminiscent of the Adventure Synchro deck from the previous Vin Limitless. Just really focusing on the powerful effects of the Adventure engine, as well as the synchro potential that the Punk had with its new edition Gear Note.
Anytime you get to play Emergency Teleport, you're probably happy, especially when all of those cards get you more cards and more summons.
Absolutely. Now, let's talk about Noah. Noah is on a very interesting deck here. He is playing Branded, not Despia, not Predaplant, Eldlich.
Branded-Eldlich. So Eldlich, known for just kind of slowing down the game quite a bit with his trap cards, but melding that together with the incredible power of the branded cards, like Branded Fusion, those fusion monsters to go with it, could be a formidable combination here. And he's had to use a lot of space to get this mix of cards to work together, going all the way up to 60 cards.
That is as many as you are allowed. He decided he wanted to use all of them.
And strangely enough, more spells than traps. Not something you see in Eldritch type decks. 26 spells to 25 traps, with 9 monsters rounding it out.
It's a close one, though. It's a close race between the two.
Very close indeed. And there's a lot of stuff in here that you just don't really see in Eldlich in general, like multiple copies of certain Eldlichs using other ones that you don't normally do. So I'm a little interested to see how this is going to work out.
And players have drawn their cards. Let's see who gets to lead the play. I believe Hani would really want to lead here, going up against a trap-based strategy such as Eldlich. And he starts off with that fantastic card we talked about earlier, Emergency Teleport.
There it is. Special summoning a level 3 or lower psychic monster from your hand or deck, but you banish it during the end phase if it's still on the field. Oh no.
Yes. Oh no.
But that.
What are the chances that monster stays on the field?
I'll search for box.
Well, as Yahney hits the field, it's going to search for Foxy Tune.
These cards from Grand Creators really shining through, right? It's not just the adventure cards that really made that set so powerful.
Yeah, it's one of those sets where, like, all three of the themes you can make an argument are really good. We've seen two of them. We're probably going to see the third one within a few months. At the normal summon Sangan.
Oh, does that mean he plays a copy of Crusadia Arborea?
Does.
Oh, Sangan?
So we got 2 level 3s becoming Cherubini.
So this play allows Hani to go into the Halki-Fibrax engine while still getting access to the adventure package, because Cherubini is able to target itself and send the Water Enchantress as cost, getting access to Rite of Aramis here, setting that up so you are able to make that full play that we've seen earlier from Christian Urena in a previous feature match.
Very good stuff here.
The Crusadia Arborea added off of the effect of Sangan. Sangan newly added to not be able to use the effect of the monster that you add that turn. However, Crusadia Arborea does not activate to summon itself into a zone a link monster points to.
Yep, so can't activate the effect, but you can still use. Even if it's not, it's like continuous effects still work, special summons still work. It's been used in this way quite a bit. Sometimes you'll see it with Salamangreat Almarush as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, worst case scenario, if you do draw the Sangan, you can just go ahead and normal summon it, link it away into the Salamangreat Almirage, search the Arborea, put it into that Almirage arrow, and then you have your Halki-Fibrax option. But obviously, it seems best when you're able to pair it with any other level 3 monster. Or if you already have Rite of Aramis here, that's fine too.
Yep.
Full adventure effect to search.
Yeah.
Who's got Draco back? Is playing the Illegal Knight, or just doing Wandering Griffin Rider? So just the Griffin Rider.
Right, yeah. I think in a deck like this, a little bit more combo-oriented, you're not really trying to prolong the game that much. It doesn't really come up too often that you're going to want to summon the Illegal Knight over the Wandering Griffin, if you're going to have to choose one to grab off of the effect of Fateful Adventure. However, having additional level 7s could prove useful, but it doesn't seem like he's playing anything along the lines of Tenyi Vishuddha either. So really just more focusing on the level 3s and the synchro aspect.
Now, notable discard from Hani there. He discarded the Psyframe Driver, revealing that he does in fact play Gamma. So that's information that could be useful to Noah going forward.
Right. Interesting that you opted to choose to keep the Draco back. Likely maybe having knowledge of the matchup already, trying to preserve the Draco back for a potential Mystic Mine in the future.
Right.
Summon Baron?
Yeah.
Fuck the Red Rose?
Yeah, you're good.
Baron's a pretty good start there.
Yep. You definitely want to be able to lead with the Baron de Fleur so the rest of your plays remain protected.
Rock's Rose effect?
Yeah.
Rock's Rose will pick up Basil Rose Shoot.
Search Basil Rose Shoot?
That's cool.
Pretty cool. How many you play? 44 cards total. 4.
Seems like Noah's pondering how he's going to tackle into the potential board that Hani's going to make here. What do you think Hani's going to end on? Just taking a look at his extract, what do you think he's going for? Especially if he has matchup knowledge here, do you think he changes his play at all to try to account for the more Eldlich-oriented, just trap-oriented field?
Thoughts he's going to fight.
Yeah, I think you think you want to have ways to block spell and trap cards in this case. So if you can get to the Archfiend Abyss, that can help you out quite a bit. At least, you could negate an Elixir, for instance. Black Awakening, negate that on their turn, negate Scarlet on your turn. Just keep Eldlich off the field, so even if you can't play any more monsters, you'll still be able to attack. The real trick, as you mentioned, is just the field spells. The stuff that's going to knock all your other monsters off the field or get them offline.
Synchro to Chaotic Ruler.
Yeah, it seems like he is going for more synchro options here, going for Chaotic Ruler. I think, more recently, he's not going to opt to go for something along the lines of Artifact Dagda. I don't think he really needs to go for the Scythe line. There is a punish if Noah is going to have immediate access to his branded line, but otherwise, being able to just focus on having those negates, as you mentioned earlier, is going to really be impactful.
Yeah. So he sees a Cypherine Gamma off the top. Not exactly useful here.
Just grabbing another Foxy Tune. It is a light.
Resolution?
All right, so he's got the Chaos Ruler there. That's the Dark Dragon you need. Oh, I see. So he doesn't have the matchup, or maybe he does. But Zombie Vampire is how you get that matchup knowledge.
Right. This could, if he does have the matchup knowledge, this is a very bold choice, trying to potentially put 4 cards from the top of the deck of Noah to the graveyard, potentially giving him some free Eldritch cards here.
Yeah, that's the scary thing. I don't know that you would do that if you knew what the matchup was.
Well, that was just fantastic.
Yeah.
That's as much knowledge as you can get.
Without causing any problems for yourself.
To be fair, you still wouldn't know there's a single Eldritch card in this deck.
True.
Based on that. You'd just be very confused.
True. Cool. All right. So we've got a level 1 tuner on the field. We've got the Adventurer Token. We've got the Zombie Vampire.
Maybe he starts, Hani has been playing a lot of Master Lily. Maybe he's looking for a Danglong option here. No, he's going to go straight into the Link Summon here.
He is going for Dagda.
Very surprising. Maybe he really just didn't have the matchup knowledge.
The Chaotic Ruler in my graveyard by banishing.
But he does know that there are cards such as Mystic Mine as well as Skill Drain in the opponent's side now. So I think he will be a little bit more mindful. This does give him access to the Hot Red Abyss.
Yep.
Yeah. So at least 2 monsters that do pose immediate threats to those powerful spell cards you mentioned earlier, as well as to having access to Scythe in case he really wants to play around Branded Fusion as well.
And I'll end my turn.
TG Wonder Magician could also just be used to go after those sets.
Exactly. I love TD Wonder Magician. That's one of my favorite cards from Extreme Victory.
Yeah, if we go back to Extreme Victory, I suppose that one really has stood the test of time.
All right, so we're starting with Elixir of Black Awakening.
That's by some of the Golden Lord from that. Correct.
Right, I think Hani's really happy to see this, because that just means you're not resolving Branded Fusion, right? Elixir's specifically locking you into zombies for the rest of the turn.
Into zombies.
He might not even choose to interact with this at all. I feel like he just lets him summon the Golden Lord here.
That's it.
Alright, so Dagda chains to that. Setting the Scythe.
I feel like overall Hani's pretty happy with this current situation, right? Not necessarily 100% in the game, but he is still very much in the lead, having 2 forms of spell and trap interaction with the Hot Red Abyss, as well as the Baron, having access to Wonder Magician. So it's about which powerful spells / traps Noah can have to really flip into the field. He does play a lot of them.
I'm interested to see, this is one of those boards where if I don't have just an absolutely stellar hand, I don't even know that I would play this game.
Yeah, it's very true. But it seems like, just from looking from Noah's end, there's plenty of cards that are really strong into fields here. I'm honestly shocked that the Golden Lord came out in defense mode.
Yeah. It's got set rotation. We can see a Mystic Mine in hand, so I guess the play here is to try and bait out the Baron. Because just turning off the Mystic Mine for 1 turn doesn't help, because as soon as it turns back on, you're not going to switch it off again.
Sure thing.
So it's the Baron in particular you need to get.
And it sets them both to the field, correct?
It's very surprising that he opted to go for set rotation first rather than the other copy of Mystic Mine.
Yeah.
Because if the flip of the other off of set rotation is in fact negated, as long as the field spell that Hani is given remains set on the field, he will not be able to activate the other Mystic Mine in his hand.
That's right. This came up yesterday, didn't it?
Yes.
There was another match where this came up.
Yeah.
On resolution, Alpha Fiber effect.
He's going to go directly, not going to even attempt to use any of those two. Just going to go straight into Wonder Magician and get rid of that set right now.
CG Wonder Magician effect.
Sure, target. Yeah, and that's something that you can do here because of the set rotation specifically. Just taking out that Mystic Mine now, leaving the other one on the field, that means the other mine is not going to be, the third mine in this case, which is in his hand, it's not hitting the field.
Yeah, so I think Hani is very comfortable in this position, going into a lone set 3. He does have the ability to immediately stop 2 of them. And he also has the ability of Baron, sometimes forgotten.
You could just destroy Golden Lord.
I don't even know if you go after Golden Lord. You might just go after a couple of the other sets, like just really try to force out as many of those sets as possible. Because I mean, he can ignore the Golden Lord, right? He doesn't need to end this game quickly. He can just make sure that he is really careful about his resources. As long as he doesn't play into the sets, then he is in a winning position. I think Noah's only win condition is if Hani plays a little bit sloppy and tries to go for a bit of an excessive push.
I'm still not seeing where Noah wins this one, though.
Yeah.
This one looks really kind of locked in.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Hani's been playing it well.
Stand by. Main phase. Water interface. Response.
Extremely important here. We still know that he has access to Draco back to potentially get rid of another interaction as well. But that is enough. He does have 5 zones filled, a bunch of monsters with hefty attack points. Hani is going to be able to take the lead here in top 32.
I'm still not. I wonder what the value of playing out those couple cards and showing them off was.
I mean, he did already see the top 4 cards after the Zombie Vampire. Maybe he decided, maybe his win condition is if Hani makes a mistake, right?
Yeah.
You might as well see what Hani might do. Maybe even just get more knowledge of what Hani has access to or how Hani plans to play into the matchup. Just knowing how he would respond to certain cards being interacted can give you a little bit of a tell for future games on how you should order them, just in case. If you know he's going to interact with something immediately, you might want to use that in the future to bait something else out. There's knowledge to be gained in everything you do.
Yeah, so maybe that outweighs showing the Eldritch cards, which hadn't been seen yet.
Yeah. Hani is very happy here. Just after seeing that game 1, how that he was able to take the lead and go first this game. Had he had to face against the set skill drain, it would have been a little bit different.
A little tough.
Yeah, but it looked like it was just a skill drain though, along with some Elder Skill traps. That's where Draco back really comes in clutch.
We're heading into the side decks. I would think that if you've got all those trap cards in there, maybe you're main decking the Dimensional Bears. Like, you've already got 25 trap cards, just put them in there. But if not before, we're probably going to see them now.
Absolutely. And along with maybe something along the line of anti-spell. Those ones were a little bit more matchup dependent, a little bit more specific on if you're going first or second. We know all those powerful trap cards that Noah has been playing, they can be really functional into a field. You can have a board entirely be there, you flip up one, then you chain Scale Drain or something, and just get all of them offline, and you can just kind of slowly accrue advantage by picking it piece by piece. Because usually against these Synchro Eldritch type stacks, they kind of just do more of a glass cannon than something along the lines of ABC Theory that we saw, where it manages its resources really well and just gets more and more resources simply for making its first turn play. Against a deck like Hani's, if it makes its first turn field, it doesn't have a whole lot left in its extra to go again. So maybe his goal here, especially going second, is just to allow him to make it and then pick it apart with your powerful trap cards that turn those monsters off. But now that he is going first, I'm assuming he just wants to make sure that he's never able to set those cards at all.
Just lock it in as fast as possible. But I suppose, if Hani's got any sort of spell and trap removal, anything at all, lightning storms, twin twisters, cosmic cyclones, if you got it, now's the time.
Absolutely. Just throw it all in. I think any forms of interruptions from the hand, right? Usually things you want to use against those monster heavy decks that there are so many of in this tournament, those are going to come immediately out and make room for those spell and trap removal.
Evenly matched even could be useful here.
Oh, absolutely. Evenly matched is a fantastic card. Making your opponent choose one of those powerful trap cards, I think, the real problem with those is when you have multiple together. If you have just one, especially when you have the adventure engine as well, it's a lot more manageable.
So just get rid of all but one and then bounce the last one with Draco back and you're good.
Absolutely. And we know just how many powerful cards Hani has in his deck to just generate more and more advantage. Like each individual P.U.N.K card, there's emergency teleports, of course, the adventure engine that I keep bringing up. I really feel like adventure cards were being put to the side recently because of the Despia deck's popularity as well as Sortel deck's popularity, but they seem to be some of the strongest cards still going into this tournament, and there's a reason why Hani is up here in top 32, and I believe that is the reason why.
Triple Sangan.
Yeah.
Triple Sangan.
I mean, we saw how effective it was here, like just being able to have those level 3 monsters going into Cherubini to find those adventure cards, right?
Yep.
Alright, the players are getting shuffled up and ready here as they proceed to game 2. The nerves are out. You can tell both players are pretty tense here. We are now in the elimination round. Once you lose, you are out of the tournament.
It's making my shoulders get stiff just looking at them.
Being very careful with how the cards are drawn. We're moving on into game 2, making sure there are no slip-ups. Try to be calm and careful here. Let's see who wants to lead. I can only imagine Noah wants to go first.
Right?
Yeah. 10 seems pretty alright. There is a copy of Dimensional Barrier and Skill Drain. A little redundant, but you take it.
Yep. Step 4.
A classic.
That's Eldlich.
Now maybe we see a copy of Red Reboot, the most powerful trap card removal that we've seen in the game, I want to say.
I haven't seen Red Reboot at all this weekend.
That's interesting. I feel like it's had a rise in popularity not only because of the existence of Eldritch, but more so the sheer popularity of Dimensional Barrier. You like put it in against decks you'd never really put it in against, simply to counter that card.
It's just a one-off, so it doesn't mess with your deck ratios at all. So Hani starts off with Rite of Aramis here.
My favorite. Well,
and chains the Griffin Rider to it.
You're going to summon, and then you're going to get the token.
Right. This plays around things such as Token Collector, potentially, or just having that negate immediately available to you. There you go, forcing out the Skill Drain here. Which, honestly, not too big of a concern, because you do have access to Draco back eventually to go ahead and put that right back.
So the token comes in attack position, and then we'll get the copy of Fateful Adventure from the deck.
Worst case scenario, even if the Skill Drain stick, that is still 4,000 points of damage available.
And you're already down 1,000 for Skill Drain.
Let's see if Hani has a useful normal summon to really trigger this Fateful Adventure here. Maybe something along the lines of Sangan.
1 res.
Maybe we'll be seeing another powerful trap card such as Rivalry, or there can be only one? There can be only one not particularly useful against this strategy.
Nope.
A lot of the cards are just very different.
You got Psychics, you got Fiends, you got Plants, you got Dragons.
We got the Fairies, the Wing Beasts.
Machines.
We got it all.
Warriors.
Is it your monster? Yep, you're good.
Okay, just using Fateful Adventure immediately, going to be able to add, most likely, a copy of Enchantress using its ability to special summon itself onto the field. Unfortunately, it will come at the cost of a card in his hand, but I think he's okay with that right now. He did have the extra card draw for turn from going second.
Pulls Enchantress out of the deck. And note, while Honey's using a token that has level 3 on it, it is in fact level 4, the Adventure token. You can use any token you want, you just have to be absolutely clear of what the stats of it are.
I believe that is a Mecha Phantom Beast token.
One of the 3 Mecha Phantom Beast tokens. I like those. I like to play 3 of those, and then the Sky Striker Ace token, which kind of has the hologram,
Right.
same kind of feeling as those tokens.
Right. It's the
Spot the Imposter Deck Phantom Beast.
it's the Hornet drone, right? Like specifically the Hornet drone. That might as well be a Mecha Phantom Beast running around. Oh, Honey is just going in as the aggressor here, forcing out more trap cards without having to actually use any.
Oh, I like this a lot.
Getting the Ash Blossom on the branded, or sorry, not the branded, the Elixir. Going to force Noah down another 55 points of damage, so a total of 65 points of damage, leaving him at 1,500.
That's right. 2, 4,
1,500.
yes.
You're at now
Or sorry, he's thinking, yes. Okay.
Yes, that's 2, 4, 55 plus the 1,000, so 65 total.
Right, and he does have the Draco. I think Hani understands how to play into trap cards, right? He's been playing the game for a very long time. You don't have to be the aggressor. If they want to slow down the game, all you have to do is not play very many cards and make the trap cards work in your favor. If they have to spend trap cards on your monsters, but your monsters aren't leaving the field, then those trap cards are not getting as much value as your monsters are. And Hani knows that.
Dracoback hits the field, tries to bounce one of the face-down cards, and Noah's really struggling with the decision on what to do with this. It's probably the dimensional barrier, right? He's thinking about whether or not to
He did not normal.
flip it.
Upvote synchro.
It's
Option to use it.
dimensional barrier.
All right, Hani is more than pleased with that decision. All he has to do is just do nothing and allow Noah to get back to play, and then he's able to try again on his next turn because he is not receiving any pressure from Noah right now.
Yeah, the ash on the Elixir was huge. Noah can't really get anything started without those Elixir cards.
Right. I mean, it's not like the Elixir card is going to be doing nothing. It does, in fact, replace itself. It's going to be able to get him a Golden Land on the following turn, but it's going to be a whole cycle before he's able to get another Elixir.
One card.
Hani really contemplating how much more he wants to commit into this field here.
So one, pass my turn.
So Noah's basically just looking for Mystic Mind, just to slow things down while he can maybe build up some more cards in here. Skill Drain will protect from the Griffin Rider.
Right, but even if he doesn't find a copy of Mystic Mind, their Dracoback is still face up on the field.
That's true. That's true. You're not getting out of it that way.
Okay.
So we're going with Scarlet Sanguine.
Immediately going to be able to pick up a Golden Land here. Has a couple options here. You can go for Conquistador, you can go for the Hakera, or potentially the Golden Land Forever, although I think that's the least likely in this situation.
Yeah, if you don't have the Eldritch already, you gotta have something else to go with it.
Hakera, the one with the most attack points.
Looks like he's trying to do the math there. Trying to see what that one card in hand is. I think it's Fallen of Albaz.
It's Fallen of Albaz and Rivalry of the Warlords that he has in his hand.
Might be enough. Might be enough. You might have it, man. Might just have me.
I think he just kind of has to wall up here behind the Rivalry. Like, flip the Rivalry as early as he can. Eliminate two of those monsters. They are all different types of Spellcaster, a Fairy, and a Wing Beast. And then have the Fallen of Albaz just as a little bit of line of defense. He is only at 1,500 life points here.
I don't even know if that works, because he can just bounce back the monster with the Dracoback anyways. But it's got to be equipped to the token, right? So you
Yeah.
keep the token, bounce the monster, and just attack directly.
Target this.
Yep. Oh, he's going for the monster immediately. I think like Noah was being a little patient there, hoping that he would go after one of the sets so that he could get that extra turn. But Hani is not taking the bluff here. He's going straight for the monster so he can get that last push.
Yeah.
Picks it up.
Enter in battle phase. Sure.
Going straight into battle phase.
Attack directly.
Rivalry gets flipped.
Okay, so he will be losing two of these monsters here, likely the Enchantress and the Griffin Rider, as you mentioned earlier, wanting to keep the Draco back. But he does have the Hakero to keep himself alive. And that gives him enough time, because the next turn it does turn into another Sanguine, and that could be rough. And now the Griffin Rider going to the graveyard, not going to be able to recycle it anymore, not going to be able to grab any more from the deck off of the Fateful Adventure. All right, Hani needs to try to apply a little bit more pressure now. Like, if Noah gets any more time, things could start turning around.
Just got to protect that token at this point. Like, Dracoback is... Like, that's how you win this game.
Yeah, honestly, he has many more access points to the token. There is an Enchantress in the graveyard. You can easily add another copy of Right even from the graveyard, but that Dracoback cannot be allowed to leave. Luckily, the token cannot be destroyed once by battle because of the effect of Fateful Adventure, because the monster is equipped.
It's kind of fun just equipping Dracoback to just any old normal monster if you're playing it in one of those decks.
Oh, there's absolutely style points if you're able to equip Dracoback to a monster that isn't the adventure token, maybe along the lines of Shade Brigandine or the Loci.
Sunseed Loci.
Mystic Mind.
If you're playing any of the like the Magic-y stuff, if you've got a Clavicus in there somewhere. I don't think the Drytron Magic-y deck plays Clavicus cards.
Targeting Aquero.
I'm sorry, what is that?
Foolish Return.
Is that card actually in his deck?
Yeah.
That is crazy.
It is actually in its deck. It is not a typo. It is real, and it's going to send that trap card back to the deck.
Well, that was just perfect here. Especially against specifically the Golden Lands, which have to be used in the end phase. He was able to use it in the main phase before it was able to activate. And you have to just go after the Mystic Mind and to be able to connect for that game.
You think that's specifically for the Eldlich matchup?
It was specifically cited in for this moment.
Yeah, it's fine for that. Like, put it in.
I could not imagine that being for anything else. I understand it's kind of like a DD Pro.
Right?
Yeah, like
It's not really a DD.
yeah.
But I guess it's just still a little stunt. We've seen a lot of interesting quick plays. We saw that. We saw Blizzard earlier. There's a lot of good quick play spells out there. And this one locks it up for Hani.
Yeah, that is honestly one of the cooler things about Yu-Gi-Oh, right? The card pool is just so vast. You never know what you might find back in the woodwork. That it could just have a moment like this in the top 32 of a YCS.
20 years worth of cards.
Yes.
All right. So we've got an interview coming up with the winner of this match. So don't go away.